Welcome into the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. It's Friday, September 9th, and the Oz Man cometh. He is back with a new record entitled Patient Number 9. This is Ozzy's 13th solo outing and his follow-up to 2020's Ordinary Man, a damn fine record that marked a hell of a return to music for him, with regards to his solo career anyway. What I love about the 2010s is that Ozzy spent most of that decade working with Black Sabbath. They did a reunion tour and a farewell tour. They dropped the album 13 in 2013. And there was talk of a 20th studio album that unfortunately never materialized. But I think that most people, including myself, with the health setbacks that he's experienced in recent years, thought that with that farewell tour, Ozzy was done with music. But oh, no. He is back. Ozzy does things on his own terms. And I love teaming up with Andrew Watt for Ordinary Man and then rolling with that momentum for this new record, Patient Number 9. There's just a great dynamic there. And you can tell that Andrew is just having the time of his life. How could you not? You're working with Ozzy Osbourne. And then on this record, the cast of musicians that are showing up for this thing is outstanding. It's a big part of what makes this album so fun. And I'm glad that Ozzy's still doing his thing. I think Ozzy's probably more surprised than anybody that he's still around, but he's not going to stop until he says he's going to stop. I would argue that even the Reaper he doesn't even have control over taking Ozzy. He basically just like checks in from time to time and he's like, "You good? Cool. I'll be back." When Ozzy's ready to go, Ozzy will go. And for now, he is staying. I don't think this is a swan song. That was another thing about Ordinary Man. You read reviews, and a lot of people were like, "Great swan song. It's Ozzy's last record." No, and I think that this is not going to be the last record. I think that Ozzy still sounds great in the studio. He is still more than capable of collaborating and making excellent music with all these people. And I'm so stoked to talk about this record. Jeff Beck, Zakk Wylde, Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. You have Eric Clapton showing up on this thing. And then more importantly, Tony Iommi. He's on 2 of these tracks. Sounds just outstanding as well. And a number of other great guest appearances as well. You have Chad Smith doing most of the drumming on this record. Taylor Hawkins does show up for a song. He is on the 3rd song, Parasite. It's a pretty cool feature. Bittersweet moment, but it's going to happen a lot. He was a busy guy that, hooked up with a lot of musicians. There were a lot of people that respected him and his work. And, we've heard a number of great things from him since his passing. So it's, again, bittersweet moment, but I think you'll enjoy that song. And then as far as the bass work on this thing, Robert Trujillo of Metallica doing a ton of work on this thing. He sounds excellent. But I'm also loving Duff McKagan showing up of Guns N' Roses. His technique is one of my favorites. It's what I love about Guns N' Roses, I think, more than anything, is his bass playing and what he brings to the table. As far as like that technique and their music, he's just outstanding. I'm loving it on this record. And what I really enjoy about this record is that the collaborations with the different players, you can feel the influence that Clapton is having on a song, that Tony is having on a song, that Jeff is having on a song. And that dynamic range of all the rock and roll on this album is one of the things that makes it so much fun to listen to. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is Ozzy's best record by any means, but the music on this record, the production is outstanding. And you can tell that there's a lot of love that's been put into this album and the music on it. And I'm just thrilled that he keeps making music and of this quality. Patient Number 9 going to open this thing up, hooking up with Jeff Beck. It's a song that you've probably heard. I think it's been on the radio. I've tried to avoid it. I did it successfully. Really enjoyed kicking this album off with that song. It's got this creepy vocal intro, grown men sounding terrified. It's it's pretty in line with what you'd expect from Ozzy Osbourne. But great heavy rock and sound on this thing. Jeff Beck's influence very prominent. I'm loving that about it. This song, it was interesting because I thought that Ozzy, like maybe something had happened to his voice with this record. The first verse, there's just what he's going with as far as the melody is not quite full Ozzy range, but then the chorus hits and he starts tearing things up, and there's nothing to worry about there. You get a couple of mean solos from Jeff Beck, this cool little breakdown. It's a kind of a mellow moment in the song, but a big track. It's like 7+ minutes, just a banger and a great way to open this thing up. Immortal is your second song, featuring Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. I'm loving this song. It sounds a lot like Van Halen, which, if you know me, that's not something that I typically would say over the years. But Van Halen growing on me a little bit. I still will never really like David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar, but Eddie Van Halen is just incredible. His work on guitar and what he was able to do for music in his lifetime is it's very admirable. He was an incredible guitar player, I should say, excuse me. But I'm loving the feel of the song. I like the influence there. It's just a great energetic rocker. Mike's guitar work on this thing, great, good solo stuff. Duff and Chad working on this thing, so I like the dynamic there between Duff McKagan and Chad Smith. Really cool in the rhythm section. Parasite, your third song. This is featuring Zakk Wylde. Nice and heavy track. It's got this thick bass, really grungy. The chorus lightens up in a way that I was kind of disappointed in. I dug just the heavy territory that this song, staked its ground on to open up. And then that dynamic there, just, it didn't quite resonate with me the way that I was hoping it to. But it picks up, the chorus is, and does add a little bit of rhythm and picks up the tempo a little bit. So that's kind of interesting there. You have Taylor Hawkins drumming on this thing. Robert Trujillo is playing bass. But, a pretty good song overall. Despite my disappointment with the lightness of the chorus, it's still a pretty good composition. No Escape From Now. This is the first time we get to hear from Tony. This song is awesome. It really sounds like if Black Sabbath was still making music. Slow arpeggiated riff to open this thing up. Vocal enters, and I like the dynamic there. But then it just gets heavy, and it just continues to get more heavy. There's this great breakdown that's very blues driven. I love Tony's solo work on the song. It's definitely my favorite track on this record. One of Those Days featuring Clapton. And you talk about the collaborations and the energy and the dynamics there. This song sounds like Sabbath meets Cream. It really and I love that Clapton went back to that style. I've never really been a huge fan of his solo work, but I love Cream, and I love the work that he did with that band, and I love that this song is really dialing into that. You get these just mellow intro. I like the way that this unfolds into just these cool Clapton-esque guitars. They sound very signature, and it slowly builds and it kicks into this hard rock and blues element. This is a really dope song too. I really like the way that it follows No Escape From Now. Really enjoyed that stretch of the record. 1,000 Shades featuring Jeff Beck. Again, he shows up, piano, acoustic guitar, and vocal in the intro. This song comes at a perfect moment. It's nice and mellow. I dig it. And it's got a solid melody from Ozzy, more great solo work from Jeff Beck. That's definitely my favorite stretch of the record. Songs 4, 5, and 6 right here. Mr. Darkness, your 7th track. This is where we get into a good stretch of songs with Zakk Wylde. I would say that this is probably not my favorite stretch. There's some weak moments I feel like in these songs, but overall the quality's still there. I mean, this album from start to finish is really damn good. Mr. Darkness, another arpeggiated riff, is going to build this mellow feel. It's a melancholy song. It's definitely one of the sadder sounding tracks. And Ozzy, 73 years old, there's a lot of moments on this record where he's acknowledging and realizing his mortality, but also just staring it down stone cold with ice in his veins. I love that about this record. But then this thing, it rocks. It's gonna fill out in the choruses, shifts back to that mellow feel, and then you get this cool breakdown that features nice guitar work. And I love the way that the coda on this song finishes hard. Nothing Feels Right is your 8th track. Same style of intro with that arpeggiated riff. Chorus picks up. Dark lyrics, but I really love the hook on this song. Nothing Feels Right. Nothing Feels Right. I love it when Ozzy sings that. And then a ridiculous solo from Zakk on this song. I definitely love that about this particular track. Evil Shuffle is your 9th song. Big and heavy, sludgy. I love the way that the chorus finds this just really cool groove, though, keeping that heavy element. And that's kind of what I was hoping the song Parasite was going to do, just to put that into some context, I guess. But on this moment, I really love the way that hits. It's got a really cool breakdown, a little on the mellow side, rocks out to finish again. Structurally, I'd say that's where my criticism is. As much as I like the music, I think when Zakk Wylde shows up on these songs, they don't really get as adventurous maybe as they could be. Just my only criticism there. Degradation Rules, your 10th song, is your next Tony Iommi feature, second one that he's on. And I love this. I love the harmonica. Just a great riff to open this thing up with. It sounds like Sabbath if they were still making music. I'm loving the heavy feel of this song, and great pickup as far as when Tony hits with the solo. The tempo picks up in the song, good energy. And then for the rest of this thing, we get basically just Ozzy just doing his thing. Dead and Gone is your 11th track. Drum intro, thick bass that enters. You get this lighter arpeggiated riff that kind of balances things out a little bit. Light vocal as well. I dig the heavy riff that kind of balances out the lighter elements of it too. It's just this just this very nuanced component that's in the background. But cool dynamic there in that song. God Only Knows, your 12th track. Blistering lyrics on this song. I love the lyrics on this track. Verses have a light feel with a heavy riff, a good balance there. Once again, feeling that in Dead and Gone. Also, chorus has big harmonies that I'm really enjoying on this track. It kind of hit a little poppy, just a little. Not not saying by any means that this is a pop track, but I think you'll feel that energy just a tiny bit when you hear that chorus and the harmonies there. And then your final song, Dark Side Blues. This is a cool closer. It's got lots of reverb in the vocal and guitar, and just a simple blues track that I think is a solid way to close this thing out and bookend this chapter of the Ozzy saga. But I don't think it's over, and I'm gonna vinyl please this thing with the excitement that we're gonna get another record here in a few years, and it'll be just as exciting and just as much fun to listen to. But I really hope you guys enjoy this record. I hope that it makes your weekend that much more fulfilling. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022. Stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.